Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podcast, the Drafted Up Podcast. That's Nick. I'm Theo. It's Christmas Eve as we record this.
Yes, sir.
It's freezing cold outside. We had a good week of Sunday football, and now we look to
Speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, I didn't, but I hope you guys did. And now we look to preview the Christmas games and the Thursday game today, and then we're going to go through the majority of the Week 16 matchups. How you doing, Nick?
Doing good. Had a beautiful drive home with the sunset. It was nice orange, purple sky. Had the beautiful Ziffel title here, sitting in the passenger seat. I'm still fighting, dude. I had Jalen Hurts, dude, and he went down, and it's heartbreaking what happened. But I'm still have a fighting chance, dude. I'm down 15. They got the Packers defense rolling Monday night versus New Orleans. So, oh man, I'm praying for something.
I am well eliminated at this point.
Yeah, you ended up going against Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley, Chuba Hubbard, Lamar Jackson. Yeah. Just not a good week for you, my guy.
Tough sledding on this end. Before we dive into the Week 16 stuff, it's Christmas, almost. So
yeah,
we're going to change up the power rankings here a little bit, and we're going to give you our top 5 Christmas songs, a little non-fantasy football and football-related stuff, but it's the holiday season. We might as well share some insight into what Christmas music we be bopping to. So what's your 5 through 1?
5 through 1. Here we go. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Andy Williams, super classic. I'm a big classics guy. We're gonna get rolling with that. Number 4, "Let It Snow, Let It Snow, Let It Snow" by Dean Martin. Anything by Dean Martin, dude, is my one off though. My number 6 was Nat Cole King, the Christmas song, just right off the cusp. Number 3 is Dominic the Donkey. I don't know if that's like a East Coast local thing. I don't know what that song is, but it's hilarious and I love it. Number 2 is Frosty the Snowman, the Jimmy Durante version, or Bing Crosby, one or the other. Both are classics. I like the one where he goes, "Happy birthday," though. Oh, gets me every time. And number 1 is Snoopy's Christmas. It's not really a classic, but it's him and the Red Baron, and they're all flying, and they become friends because it's Christmas. It tells a great story. I love it. It's a big old vibe in my eyes, so that's my number 1. It's a little of an oddball choice, but 1 through 4, though, pretty much classics. I guess Dominic the Donkey Falls is a classic.
Yeah, it's a classic in this area, I think. I think a lot of people like it.
I don't know what that song is.
Yeah, me either. My first one's off. I don't have the name of the one, but there's just a part in the song. We're just like an inside joke between me and Ashley where the singer just goes, ha, 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 ha. I think it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas. I think that's
for sure. I think so.
The ha, 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 ha gets me every time. And then, the Rockin' Rudolph by Chuck Berry, because he just says, Santa asked a boy child. And then later on he says, Santa asked a girl child. And those parts just... Yeah, the lyrics get me off. But my number 5 is Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Holmes. Nice classic.
Vibe. Classic.
And that might be the only classic on my list. 4 is your number 1. Snoopy's Christmas by the Royal Guardsmen is my number 4. My number 3 is also your number 3, Dominic the Donkey by Lou Monte.
Hey.
I love that song. It's so stupid.
That song is a true mystery to me, dude.
We did a Christmas lights tour and it came on the radio and nice. I just started bopping. My number 2 is Snow Miser, Heat Miser, specifically by the ska punk band Millington.
Oh, this guy's throwing out a ska version of that song.
It is incredible. Check it out if you...
I'll check it out because the original is a vibe, dude. That's such an underrated song. I love that pick.
Yeah, it rocks. I watched a TikTok of Drake Bell singing Snow Miser, Heat Miser today, and that nice. It was almost my number 1, but my number 1 favorite Christmas song is Christmas Rapping by the Waitresses. I love that one. Oh, so you forgot the cranberry sauce too? That is my absolute favorite Christmas song. I can listen to it on repeat.
Thank you for that, because that song came on at work the other day, and I just hear Bill. Bill's my best friend. He's family at this point, but he just out loud goes, "Oh, I hate this song," and I'm like, "How can you hate this song, dude? The beat alone is such a vibe. You just gotta let it like ride through your soul, dude." That's a good pick. I'm gonna have to let him know that's your number one. He's gonna freak out.
It's far and away my favorite Christmas song. Like I
good choice.
There's a Smash Mouth version of it as well.
Oh, that's probably a good time.
Yeah, it's not as good as the Waitress version, but I absolutely adore that song. Like it is far and away my favorite Christmas song.
So good, dude. That's so funny. We spent probably like 45 minutes talking about that song the other day at work. That's so funny.
Like I love it. I love it. It's far and away my favorite Christmas song. But definitely
good
check
choice,
out the Millington Snow Miser, Heat Miser. It adds a nice like punk kind of style to it. Really picks up the pace. But like the trombones fit the durr. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right. And then Elf. Shout out Elf. Best Christmas movie. We're not going to do a top 5 power ranking for Christmas movies because that's just too hard to just come up with a list. Nickel throw out Rocky 4.
Rocky 4 is a legitimate Christmas movie. So is the Harry Potter movie. The whole series gives off Christmas vibes, but specifically 1 and 2 are Christmas movies for sure.
Yeah. All right. Week 16 was not a good week for myself. My team. I mean,
it's not that your team didn't underperform or anything. You just went up against a team that just, from all cylinders, was firing, dude. Yeah, so.
Yeah, it went off.
It happens, dude.
Not ideal. I was gutted.
I get it.
Thursday night, Denver lost to the Chargers, 34-27. Both teams now 9-6. Both quarterbacks did great. Justin Herbert, Bo Nix. If you started them, you're probably happy with their performances. Both had 2 touchdowns. Both had over 250 passing yards. Bo Nix had some rushing yards in the first half, did not rush again in the second half. Justin Herbert did throw an interception, his first in a long while. And
the Chargers really pulled like really good second and a half adjustments here. Like the game was completely different after halftime. It was Denver went up quick. They were up 21-something like right off the bat. And you and I was like, "Oh God, Denver's about to blow them out." And then
it was like 21-13 at halftime.
Yeah, so Chargers play really good second half ball. They're a good coach team.
Yeah, Gus Edwards looked like vintage Gus Edwards.
He did have a
14
really nice
carries,
run.
68 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Haskins scored again for them. Ladd McConkey continues to be great, 6 for 87. The other receivers there, San Diego or Los Angeles, didn't do much. And then Denver
Sutton was quiet-ish.
Yep.
5 for 50. It was fine, but
a lot of that was at the end of the game too. Like he was only like I think 3 for 30 at halftime. Marvin Mims was involved, and Javonte Williams was the lead back in terms of fantasy points, but that's because he had 11 targets and it was just 7 for 29. But he was 4 for 24 on the ground.
Yeah, Estime outrushed him with 9 carries. He had a tutty though, but Estime, it was still nothing you could really confidently start going into championship week.
No. Yeah, Denver's essentially, because next week Denver's got a big game. We'll preview that one. It's for Cincinnati, so there should be a ton of points there. But Denver, it's pretty much just Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton. We'll see. How do you view Javonte's stock going into next season?
Not ideal. That's to say the least. If he's with Denver, it's going to be a crapshoot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I think he's going to be a split time back for the rest of his career, to be honest. I don't think he's ever going to be that Bell kind of back when he was drafted.
Like if he goes to Vegas, maybe he gets a little uptick in fantasy value next year, but he to me, he's just a guy you're going to take a late round flyer on if you're going to draft him in redraft.
Yeah, Vegas has low-key been producing startable running backs all season, to be honest, with the way Madison's been playing. He's been startable, and then Sincere for a little bit. back to Madison, Abdullah for a couple games here and there. Never really was Zamir White, who was drafted to be their head
starter.
back. So
yeah,
but yeah, Vegas would be quite the question. We'll see.
And then I assume you're out on Quentin Johnston going forward. He just doesn't do it in prime time. Like all of his bad games this year have been, yeah.
The lights are too bright for Quentin Johnson. He did have a big time drop too. Like he pulled the classic Quentin Johnson out of his bag that game. Mm-hmm. But no, you can't play him next week if you're going through.
And then Gus Edwards, you buying into this, or do you think this was just a one-time thing?
No, oh God. They got New England, which is a decent enough matchup, but I couldn't trust Gus Edwards personally. I don't know about you.
No, I'm out on the Chargers backfield. Then on Saturday, we had two games, Houston versus Kansas City. Kansas City won 27-19. They improved to 14-1. Houston falls to 9-6. Mm-hmm. The bigger story for Houston was the loss of Tank Dell. He was having a game. Dell, it was 6 grabs for 98 yards and a touchdown, but on that touchdown, he took 2 devastating hits and dislocated his kneecap, and it came out today that he tore his ACL. So I would expect Tank Dell to start the season on the PUP list, and his fantasy relevance going forward is up in the air.
I was listening to a show today, and they brought up that with the ligament damage, he just might be out all of next season, to be honest. So I'm kind of looking at Tank.
He should.
I agree. He didn't look fully healed from his injury last season, most of the season now. So I think it would do him well to actually take time and just heal as much as possible, because I don't know if he's going to ever be like college Tank Dell again, to be honest. It's upsetting.
In the span of 1 year, this guy broke his leg, got shot, and now dislocated his kneecap and tore his ACL.
Yeah, it's been a rough go for him in the pros. Like, he wasn't injury prone at all in college. So like the broken fibula, that was a fluke incident. This injury was a dislocated kneecap, which led to an ACL tear. A fluke incident again, both caused by own teammates. It's really upsetting to talk about. Like, ugh.
Yeah. CJ Stroud was okay, 244, 2 touchdowns. He just threw 2 interceptions.
Fine.
Joe Mixon, 57 yards, only had 1 catch for 14. We said going in to temper your expectations with Joe Mixon, and even to that, it was a pretty low performance for him.
For sure.
And then Nico Collins, 7 for 60. It was okay, but
he's fine in full PPR.
Yeah, we'll see how losing Tank Dell affects him, as he's now really the only option in the passing game. Like, is there another Texans pass catcher that you're going to target? Robert Woods, Xavier Hutchinson, Dalton Schultz. He was 5 for 45 and a touchdown, but like, you really want to be starting Dalton Schultz in your championship game?
No, and you can't really rely on Houston's number 2, to be honest, all season. So I wouldn't rely on someone that I don't even know who it is. Like, Tank Dell hasn't been startable for, to be honest, like, it's going to be most of the year. He wasn't really a wide receiver 2 or even a flex guy. So I wouldn't feel comfortable starting. Yeah, for a while, but it was never, after Diggs got hurt, it was never 2 guys that have been good.
Yeah. Yeah, Nico was out as well.
Yeah. Like, it's a one receiver offense at this point.
And then Kansas City, Patrick Mahomes, 260, had a touchdown. He also had a rushing touchdown. So 2 touchdowns for him. And then the Kansas City backfield continues to be a mess. Kareem Hunt had 11 carries for 55 yards and a touchdown. Samaje Perine had 3 catches for 50 yards. Pacheco, 9 carries for 26. This isn't a backfield that I'm messing around with. I don't think you can start any of them. And right now, it looks like Kareem Hunt might be the only one you could throw a dart at and put in your lineup.
If you had to play one of them, I would play Kareem Hunt. He has just a little bit more work this week than Pacheco, and last week they were tied on carries. So regardless of the outcome, Kareem Hunt's going to get his. I don't know if they're saving Pacheco fully for the playoffs.
That's what it feels like.
I don't know if he's not healthy. Like he came back really quick from a really big injury. Like he broke his like femur or something. He broke something crazy in his body. I know it was one of his leg bones. So I don't know if he just doesn't have the right burst yet. That there's like we still need Kareem Hunt out there. But either way, you can't start Pacheco going forward next week.
Yeah, he had a fracture in his leg.
You know what bone there, brother?
No, it just said leg fracture.
Gotcha.
Pass catchers in Kansas City. It's Xavier Worthy.
It's Worthy. Yeah, Worthy's been the most consistent the last
11 targets
4 or
again,
5 weeks.
7 for 65 and a touchdown, and then 3 carries for 10 yards. Hollywood Brown did come back. He saw 8 targets. He was 5 for 45. Hopkins feels like 3rd or 4th in the pecking order now if you include Travis Kelce.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Hopkins instantly got passed by Brown in targets. It's nice to see Hollywood out there. It's obviously been all season waiting. But we'll see how it does in the playoffs. But Worthy's really the only option here receiver-wise. And you're going to have to stick with Kelce probably in most cases if you made it through with him.
Yeah, Hollywood Brown will be interesting if he has a nice stretch here through regular season and the playoffs. He's a free agent, and he could garner himself a nice little contract if he has a big stretch here.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Pittsburgh and Baltimore. Baltimore won 34-17. Both teams now 10-5. Lamar Jackson continues to do Lamar Jackson things. He had 3 touchdowns, 37 on the year, and 207 yards, 22 on the ground. He did have a turnover. Derrick Henry, 162 yards rushing, no touchdowns. That dude's a machine. Zay Flowers, he broke 1,000 yards on the season. He had 5 grabs for 100. And Mark Andrews does it again, scores another touchdown, 4 for 37. And the aforementioned touchdown, Isaiah Likely also got 6 with 3 for 29. Pittsburgh misses George Pickens.
Justice Hill got hurt in this game. He
did. Yeah, that was scary. Yeah, he took a nasty fall on the sideline.
Hopefully he takes... I would assume he's not going to be out there on the short week because they play Saturday, I believe.
They play Wednesday. They play Christmas.
Oh, they play Christmas? Okay. I knew they played early. I didn't know which day they played. So I expect that to be a full Derrick Henry load without Justice Hill in the backfield.
Yeah, for sure. And big for championship week if you got that far with Derrick Henry.
For sure.
Pittsburgh, they're really missing George Pickens.
They're a completely different team without George Pickens.
Yeah,
it's crazy. He is looking on track to play this week, though. So,
which will be big for Pittsburgh. They're fighting for the division at this point, and they still have a showdown with Cincinnati coming up in 2 weeks to end the season. Russell Wilson was okay for fantasy, 217. He had 2 touchdowns. Did also have 2 turnovers. Jaylen Warren was the most efficient back, 12 for 48, 5 for 44 through the air. Najee was only 9 for 42. He had no passing work. A rough game for Najee Harris, and then the receiving crew in Pittsburgh is just 4 for 65 from Calvin Austin, 3 for 24 from Mike Williams, and even Freiermuth 3 for 16. Like a rough stretch for the Pittsburgh offense.
But when in doubt, Arthur Smith turns to Cordero Patterson. So
yeah, Cordero Patterson did have a catch for a touchdown.
Yeah, that wherever Arthur Smith goes, Cordero Patterson's going to be following. So it's still nice to see Patterson playing. It's kind of fun. Yeah,
it's a shame it took as long as it did for teams to figure out the kind of talent. Like he had an incredible rookie year in Minnesota, and then Norv Turner took over, and it just completely deteriorated his use, and then he bounced around and got hot in Atlanta under Arthur Smith. There
was that year he was Atlanta's RB1, and man, he finished as like RB9 on the season or something crazy like that in fantasy football. It was fun. It was a vibe.
Yeah, and it was like, I remember going into that offseason, like, how do you view Cordero Patterson? Like, where do you draft this guy?
Yeah, he was like almost Taysom Hill before Taysom Hill was really big.
Yeah. How worried are you about Pittsburgh going forward, though?
Once they get Pickens back, I'm not worried.
Not worried at all. Okay.
No, their team hasn't really changed besides that. Like TJ Watt got banged up, but he still ended up playing. So as long as these guys are still out there, I'm not too worried. Pickens, though, is night and day here. He's the offense through passing wise. Like Pat Freiermuth has been okay, but that's only because of volume. Like once Pickens gets out there, he opens up Calvin Austin. He opens up all these other receivers like Van Jefferson, Mike Williams, just because he eats the double coverage. And Pickens still get catches when he's double coverage because he's a dog, dude. So once Pickens comes back, Pittsburgh will be fine.
Yeah, tough schedule to finish out the year, though. Kansas City and Cincinnati. The Falcons and new starting quarterback Michael Penix whooped up on your New York Giants 34-7. Atlanta improves to 8-7 and are now winning the NFC South. The Giants fall to 2-13, and they are now the sole holders of the first pick of the NFL draft. Speaking of which, we usually do our prospects on Tuesdays. We're going to push that to Thursday this week just because we got to go through these games, and then we got 3 games to cover at the end of the show here. So less games to cover on Thursday. We'll do the prospect spotlight on Thursday, so we're not going to forget that. Giants, it was, Malik Neighbors had a bunch of targets. He set some records for the Giants.
Yeah, he's most receptions for a rookie in Giants history, and he's missed games. And he's on track to actually break like just overall rookie records. So he's the dog,
games,
dude. I love it.
And he's had fucking Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Tommy DeVito, and Tim Boyle at quarterback. So
and Marvin Harris. I'm not gonna throw shade at Marv. Like Marv's out here with Kyler Murray, who's not great, but he's 30 times better than anything the Giants have suited up for Malik Neighbors. So Neighbors is proving that he's the alpha in that out of those two for sure.
Brian Thomas Jr. has had a half season with Mac Jones.
Hey, going into the offseason, there's Brian Thomas Jr. should be ranked over Marv. Then that's coming from me.
Neighbors, he had a nice a Wandale game, 7 for 68. Wandale, similar stat line, 7 for 62. Oh, I see Jalen Hyatt got a catch. Love to see it. But it was, and then otherwise, Tyrone Tracy, 4 for 43 and a touchdown through the air, and then 7 carries for 26. Really weren't getting it done on the ground, but playing from behind there. But his touchdown catch was incredible. You could see the receiver skills.
His touchdown was gorgeous, dude. I loved it.
Did you happen to hear
the
announcer just go, or it was Scotty Redzone. He was like, I think he might have played receiver in college. I'd have to look into that. Like, no, he did.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. No, he did.
Yeah.
Most of his Tyrone Tracy, he was a receiver.
How do you feel about him going into next year as a Giants fan?
It is rough because usually like these later round drafted backs that produce well, we look at them as viable options in fantasy, but then the team usually brings in somebody and it kind of...
Dameon Pierce.
Exactly. They just lose all of their carries. So it's 100% all on the offseason goes, but if we don't bring in anybody, Tracy's a fool going fantasy next year.
Yeah, I worry about a coaching change, and then they might just, because Tyrone Tracy, they have no links to him, but I obviously, if you guys remember back to the Couch Scout series, I'd love Tyrone Tracy, and I felt going into draft season that if once you guys got him, that this was going to be his job, and I've stuck by that, and it's reigned true. Devin Singletary, completely ineffective. 4 for 12 this past
4
week.
carries.
Atlanta, Michael Penix didn't put up a whole lot on the stat sheet. 18 for 27, 202. He had a pick. He looked okay at times, but
the pick
wasn't even his fault.
Did you see it?
Kyle Pitts literally threw it to your guy's defender.
Pitts like caught the ball, turned around, and then just like bouquet threw the ball in the air. I'm like, what is he doing? Kyle Pitts is a crazy, crazy thing, dude. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah. But Penix wasn't needed. I don't think it would have mattered who was the quarterback in this game. No. The defense had 2 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson, 94 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns.
Looked great.
Yeah. He's my RB1 and just overall player 1 going into next season. Darnell Mooney, though, was good to see his involvement. He was the one we were worried about. He was 5 for 82. Yeah. Drake London, 5 for 59.
Very happy that Drake London did leave the game with an injury and did not return.
And then Kyle Pitts, 1 for 7. Yeah.
Bum. He's a bum.
Yeah. Oh, you're out. You're officially out.
No. Never once said I was out. Just the words "he's a bum"
He's a
came
bum.
out of my mouth.
Okay.
He will still be a top 12 tight end come next season in my eyes.
What an insane take, because there's going to be rookies, and Kyle Pitts will be lucky to be in my top 20.
He's so athletic, dude.
Yeah, he's 24
He's so
years
athletic
old.
and a good offense.
Yeah. Just slightly outscored Daniel Bellinger this week, who was 1 for 5.
Hey, who I also like, but not for fantasy. Just as a real life football player, Daniel Bellinger is really good.
Atlanta's in the driver's seat. Do they somehow win this division?
They can, dude. Like, and I kind of hope Penix pulls it out, because then that shows that he's worth it, regardless of.
They got Washington,
They have
and Carolina to end the season.
Washington's going to be rough, and Carolina's playing good ball, dude. So you never know, but I think it's going to end up being Tampa that sneaks in.
Yeah, and then Tampa has Carolina and New Orleans.
Yeah.
So a little bit easier of a road for the Bucks, but we'll see how that turns out. Carolina, speaking of, overtime win over the Cardinals, 36-30. I wanted to pick the Panthers, and I should have. I should have just done it. Panthers improved to 4-11. Kyler Murray and the Cardinals fall to 7-8, officially eliminated from the playoffs. Bryce Young wins the short king battle. Heck of a game too from him.
Oh my god!
What?
That was out of pocket.
He's the short king, baby.
That was crazy.
It was the first.
Can we talk about Kyler? Are you worried?
Yes. This was the first time in NFL history, though, that two quarterbacks under the 5'10" faced each other. So
is that true?
Yeah, Bryce Young.
That's
short
funny
king.
as fuck.
Short king.
Oh my god.
He was great. But yes, I am incredibly worried about Kyler Murray. This is going to be crazy. I think Kyler Murray sucks. I don't think he's good.
You and I have always been Kyler Murray supporters. Like a good amount of people are like, he sucks, he's terrible, and I'm like, he's fine. He just needs the right coach. He's a good quarterback.
Players.
I don't know if he is. Like, I'm on the fence about it now. Like, you gave him Marv, we gave him Trey McBride.
Dirty.
He's doing Trey McBride bad. Like, Trey McBride was open 100% of the time this week, and he just didn't get the ball because Kyler, I don't know what was wrong.
Yeah, it was Trey McBride's worst game of the season.
We had 4 targets.
Yeah, 3 catches for 20 yards. It was
so much.
Trey McBride, who's been probably one of the most consistent pieces in fantasy football, and I have a ton of shares in Trey McBride, and it's nice to be able to lock in a dude like Trey McBride in a tough position to find a consistent, stable dude who puts up flex numbers. Like, he's putting up wide receiver 3, wide receiver 2 numbers, and it's a huge advantage. And then, like, you have him locked him in, like, yeah, I got Trey McBride, I'm good for 15 plus points in PPR. And then he has the worst game of his season. It wasn't on him. Like, I don't know. Kyler Murray.
It was definitely not him. It was 100% Kyler. Like, Trey McBride did everything he needed to do on Sunday
his job.
to be open.
It's not Kyler Murray's job to get those guys the ball.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Kyler Murray. If I was the Cardinals, I would try to find a way out. Trade him in the offseason. I don't know who's going to take him.
You got to let it rock. You got to let it rock one more season, I think.
I don't think they're, and this kills me because I love the Cardinals. I don't think they're more than a 500 team with Kyler Murray. I don't think they'll ever be better than a 9-win team.
Yeah, I honestly see their ceiling being 9 to 10 wins with Kyler, and that's just not going to get it. Like, that's not going to get you over the gap that you need to be able to contend with the Chiefs, the Bills, all of those Super Bowl teams, the Eagles, the Ravens. So, I don't know. Murray he's on the hot seat next season for sure.
Yeah, because James Conner was great on Sunday. 15 carries for 117 yards and a touchdown. He did get hurt, so
that was in 3 quarters too.
Yeah, 4 for 49 through the air. So that's something to monitor if you've made it this far with James Conner. Who knows what situation's going to be next week. It was a knee injury. I don't want to be the bearer
of bad news, but I would almost certainly say James Conner is not out there next week.
Oh yeah, the Cardinals have nothing to play for, so it wouldn't surprise me if they
Yeah.
shut him down for the rest of the year, which is a shame because this would have been the first time James Conner completed a full season. He's been absolutely incredible for
Been so
fantasy
close.
and for this football
Oh, he's been
team.
great. He's been
Him and
so
Trey
good, dude.
McBride have been the stones for this team. Like they're the pieces that you need, and it's just not working.
Even at 7-8, this team has produced. They were not supposed to be an almost 500 team.
Oh,
and that's because of James Conner and Trey McBride.
I thought they
were. 100%. But the same thing with Washington. No one thought Washington would be in the predicament they are in. But if you listen to the podcast, I was preaching Washington all offseason.
You were.
But the Cardinals are only in this predicament because of James Conner and Trey McBride. There's no other. It's those two guys have been carrying this team.
The defense also improved. They went from the
bottom
defense in the league to they did, and they're going to finish as a middle of the pack defense. So
yeah.
And then Budda Baker re-signed, so we'll see going forward.
I
Arizona.
love me some Budda, baby.
And Marvin Harrison, 4 for 39, continues to let you down. And I don't even think I'm putting this on Kyler as well. Like I think the Marvin Harrison issue is a Kyler Murray issue. Like they're playing Marvin Harrison like a big body receiver, which I get because he's huge. But if you watch his college tape, like he plays like a smaller receiver. Stop throwing this dude jump balls. Just get the ball in his hand. Use him like Nico Collins in Houston and let him do work. But they just keep running go routes with this guy.
He is the biggest, smallest receiver I've ever seen in the NFL right now. He does not look 6'4". I can give you that. Like that way he also, I don't know what's going on with his vibe. I don't know if it's because they're so bad right now with like getting him the ball. He just doesn't seem like he wants to be really involved or there right now. But this whole team needs to really get their team shit together in the offseason because they can be pretty good. They have a lot of talent. They all need to be on the same page.
Yep. And Kyler, as much as we shit on him, he had a good fantasy day. 202 touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown, 63 yards on the ground. He had 2 turnovers. But let's talk Carolina. Bryce Young, 158 yards through the air, 2 touchdowns. He also had a rushing touchdown, so a 3-touchdown game for Bryce Young. Top 5 QB performance. For Bryce,
I believe it's his first ever 3-touchdown game.
Probably. So now
I'm pretty sure.
Jalen Hurts. You're a Jalen Hurts owner. If he's out next week against Dallas, do you take a shot on Bryce Young as a streaming option? They play Tampa Bay, who just got beat up by Cooper Rush, and Tampa Bay's been beat up by quarterbacks the majority of the year. Bryce Young's playing good football. I don't think it's crazy that Bryce Young could be a streaming option for championship week.
He's definitely towards the upper echelon of streaming options that are going to be available. Because there's not many most teams already checked out or just done, so they've kind of just held on to everyone that they've had. So free agents is kind of rough at this point, so streaming's a little rough, especially the last week of the season. But yeah, it's like him, Drake May. Oh, God, who else is out there? Caleb Williams, if he's still an option on the market.
Mm-hmm.
You brought up Anthony Richardson last week. He had a nice rushing performance, but I don't know who their matchup is. So they
play the Giants.
Oh, boy. Yeah. So, yeah, I guess. Oh, my God.
Nick going to have Anthony Richardson as a start of the week next week. First time ever.
Yeah, right.
Chuba Hubbard, also incredible for Carolina. 152 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns. They paid him. He's doing the work. Adam Thielen, 5 for 43 and a touchdown.
Nice touchdown, too. It was good.
Jalen Coker just missed a touchdown. He was 2 for 8. So disappointing game from him. Carolina, they're slowly just having fantasy relevant dudes. And they're playing better football.
Oh, yeah. Chuba did everything in his ability to make sure this game was not determined by a field goal. That last drive, they just kept feeding him the rock, and he broke off that last one. He's like, I'm scoring this ball. The game is over. We're going home with a win. Last time we saw
Chuba in overtime, he fumbled against the Bucs and got the Bucs that win. this time.
Yeah, so you love to see it.
Not
He's
today.
had such a good back end of the season.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys that's his ranking's going to be pretty weird next season. I don't know where it's going to fall, but it should be pretty high-ish.
I think he's going to be in my top 12.
RB1. I would say he's like a top 3 round kind of guy next season. Top 3, top 4 rounds.
I don't see Jonathan Brooks there.
No,
for the majority
Brooks
of the
isn't
year.
going to be ready for most of the season anyway. So Chuba's in the same predicament come next season.
Mm-hmm. Detroit improves to 13-2. They beat Chicago 34-17. Bears fall to 4-11 on a 9-game losing streak. Are the Bears? Jared Goff, 3 touchdowns, 336 yards through the air. He continues to be good, despite inconsistent for fantasy, because you never know what Jared Goff game you're getting. So he's a tough start, but when you start him and he hits, he likely wins you the week. Jahmyr Gibbs, as we expected, 23 carries for 109 yards and a touchdown, 4 for 45 through the air. Bell cow back going forward here for them. It was nice to see Sione Vaki involved a little bit. A little draft guy from last season.
For sure.
Receivers, Jameson Williams, 5 for 143, touchdown. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 for 70, touchdown. Tim Patrick, 1 target, no catches.
Yeah, rough performance.
Then Sam Laporta, your start of the week, 4 for 43 and a tutty. On a great play.
On a phenomenally drawn up play. Ben Johnson is going to get any job he wants. That play, though, was amazing. Like, Detroit's just fucking around at this point. Like, that play was so funny to pretend. Gibbs to pretend to fumble. Gibbs pretend to fall. Goff pretends to fumble. And then they just throw a dime to fucking Laporta deep downfield for a great touchdown. Amazing play. Detroit's fun to watch.
Yeah.
That J-Mo touchdown killed me, though. My opponent had him in our home league, and Goff dropped back and just ripped it. And I'm like, that ball is deep. There's no way it's Amon-Ra down there, dude. And it's just J-Mo 5 yards past any defender. And I'm like, oh my God, kill me, dude.
Yeah.
He's having such a fun season, dude.
Yeah.
He's a field
Chicago for fantasy, they did fine. Caleb Williams, 334, 2 touchdowns. He fumbled. A nice performance from him. Keenan Allen, 9 for 141 and a touchdown. DJ Moore, 7 for 68. Roma Dunze, 4 for 77, and he fumbled.
Keenan Allen's such a weird thing, dude. He's had 4 amazing weeks in the last 5. It's just fun to watch, dude. Keenan Allen's a dog, dude. We loved him his whole career, especially with the Chargers.
Free agent going into next season.
Yeah, so I wonder what's going to happen. He's not going to get a huge deal, obviously, because he's older, but a nice 1-year deal somewhere.
Well, if you ask him, he's either staying in Chicago or he's going to L.A. So
that's what he said.
Him back with the Chargers with Ladd McConkey, that would be nice. Nice to watch.
That is true.
DeAndre Swift was okay. In real life, he looked good. He looked like he had some juice, but he just couldn't get anything going. But fantasy-wise, 20 yards, 3 for 33 through the air. So, more of a real-life looking good passing the eye test, which is tough for him to do, especially consistently. And then Cole Kmet got a touchdown, but that was it for him. 2 for 9.
A pure touchdown-dependent game there for Cole Kmet.
Yeah. The Bears are easy for fantasy. In the last week, you could probably play all 3 receivers and Caleb Williams could be a stream. But that's it. Yeah,
it was very similar to the Thanksgiving game in terms of fantasy output. It was a lot of second half points here for the Bears. Keenan Allen, a lot of his yards were second half. DJ Moore had a pretty big play in the second half. So the Bears are just playing second half football, but it also flows back onto the Lions are so banged up that it's hard for them to play 60 minutes of really good football. Real quick, back to the Panthers game. Did you see the Bryce Young touchdown to David Moore?
No, I did not.
Look it up after the pod. It was a really good throw by Bryce Young over the shoulder, pylon throw to David Moore. It's probably Bryce Young's best throw in the pros right now.
Yeah, I saw his rushing
very
touchdown,
good throw,
which was a heck of a play, breakthrough, and then just scampered down the sideline.
He's playing good ball.
Yeah. Cleveland and Cincinnati. Bengals win 24-6. Bengals improve to 7-8, staying alive. Browns fall to 3-12. Dorian
God
Thompson
forbid we
Robinson.
had Jameis Winston. Ugh.
Dorian Thompson Robinson is not good at professional football. Better than us, but shoot, not much.
I'm a pretty big guy. He's better than this guy. But he is not an NFL starting or backup caliber quarterback. Like, come on.
Is he a UFL caliber quarterback at this point?
I'm willing to say that Danny DeVito, being Tommy DeVito, is a better start for the Giants than DTR for the Browns. Like, if I'm the Browns receivers, I'd be furious, dude.
First off,
we're out here putting up numbers, like real legit numbers, and then you put in this fucking schmuck, dude.
They're tanking, brother.
I get that. So are the Giants. Malik Neighbors is still putting up numbers.
Yeah, if I would have to start Dorian Thompson Robinson, I don't want him throwing the ball 34 times, which is exactly what he did this week.
But maybe if they had a running back that was efficient. Oh, wait, they do have a running back who was efficient, and they just didn't give him the ball a ton.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford was amazing.
11 carries for 92 yards and a touchdown, 5 for 39 through the air. As long as DTR's the quarterback, Jerome Ford is the best option on this offense.
Start of the week. My start of the weeks were good this week. I made up for that horrendous outing.
Yeah. The receivers, no good. Elijah Moore, 2 for 20. Jerry Jeudy, 2 for 20. You can't play him. If you're still in it with Jerry Jeudy, bless your heart, you got to find a pivot.
You have to find a pivot. But Jerry Jeudy should be storming to the front office. Like, he's having a career year, and you're throwing out this guy now?
His Madden rating's too low, brother.
Shut up. That's disgusting. But, like, Winston didn't even suit up. He wasn't hurt. He was a healthy scratch.
Yep.
Put that guy on the field, please. Like, for Jerry Jeudy's sake, like, Njoku had a good game, I get it, but
8 for 66.
This is Jerry Jeudy's best season of his career, and now you threw it away for nothing.
Yeah. And we were worried about the Bengals easily winning this game, affecting their fantasy performance. Joe Burrow, 3 touchdowns. It was fine. 252 yards. He did fumble. Chase Brown did not get into the end zone. 91 yards, 3 grabs for 18 yards. So one of his worst games, per se, for fantasy.
Quote for quote.
Yeah. Jamar Chase, 697, touchdown. T. Higgins, 8 for 58, touchdown. And Andre Yoshivas was heavily involved. 3 for 3 for 53 yards and a touchdown. The Bengals are cooking. They're getting hot at the right time if things fall their way. Not a team I want to see in the playoffs just because of how high-powered that offense is. Defense is playing better. We'll see if they fall their way into the playoffs. A lot needs to happen for them to do so. Being Indianapolis needs to lose a game, and the Colts have the benefit of playing you guys and then the Jaguars.
Yeah, a lot needs to fall in their direction, but they're playing good ball, and they play Denver, so they can make some things happen here. But this was the first time Chase Brown didn't finish as an RB1 since he took over the backfield. So and that was week 9. He took over. So week 9 till now, he's been an RB1. An amazing stretch of a time. Chase Brown deserves his flowers. I expect him to have a big bounce back week versus Denver.
Yeah. And he's another one of those names. It'll be interesting to see where he falls next season.
Yeah, exactly. He's playing way better than Tracy. But again, if he's their main back come next season, he should be drafted extremely high.
Yep. Speaking of the Colts, they beat Tennessee 38-30. Colts improved to 7-8. Tennessee falls to 3-12. Mason Rudolph, 252, 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. Tony Pollard, 8 for 35. Tajay Spears, 10 for 27, 2 touchdowns, really boosted him up, 3 for 39 through the air. Calvin Ridley, 3 for 78 and a touchdown. And hey, Nick Westbrook-Akinian got in the end zone. It's been a while. 2 for 17 for him. But
he took 2 weeks off.
And then Chigakonkwo. He's the new
huge week.
Juwan Johnson. He just turns it on in the fantasy playoffs. 9 for 81. He's Mason Rudolph's favorite player.
Yeah. 10 targets 2 weeks ago, 11 targets this week, and they got Jacksonville next week. So Chig's looking like a guy that you could put in there at tight end. come championship week.
Hey, how about that completion percentage for Anthony Richardson?
If the Colts want to win games, Anthony Richardson needs to pass the ball 11 times. This was the best game he's ever had, I swear. And I get he's had those games where he's had 80-yard dimes, bombs, but he played clean football. His pick was horrendous. His pick was so bad. Yeah. He didn't even read the defense at all. So he's obviously still bad at that concept. But keep his throws minimum. 11 passes is perfect. Just keep handing the ball off to Jonathan Taylor, dude.
Keep him under 20 and let him rush.
Keep him under 15, dude.
And let Johnny Taylor do the work. My start of the week, Jonathan Taylor. How's 29 carries for 218 yards and 3 touchdowns sound?
You see how long he held on to the ball every time he scored?
Yes, I did.
The one time he ran out of the fucking state, he ran through like a tunnel with the ball in his hands. He just did not let go of the ball this weekend. It was great.
Yeah. Two of those touchdowns were over 50 yards. An absolute, like I said, at my start of the week, like Jonathan Taylor was going to win teams weeks, and he did just that.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor, he's just one of those athletic running backs that can take over whenever he wants. He just needs the full workload of just giving him all of it. Don't let Anthony Richardson take it. Let Anthony Richardson have whatever's left over after Jonathan Taylor's done tearing up a defense. He should be the main focus point of this whole offense. Richardson
had a really nice rushing touchdown.
He did.
And his passing touchdown was all Josh Downs. He hit Josh Downs in the seam, and then Josh Downs tricked the defender, thinking he was going to go out of bounds, and then he just scampered down the sideline. He was the beneficiary of Anthony Richardson, 3 for 61 and the touchdown. And then none of the other receivers were of any relevance for fantasy.
Josh Downs has shown that he could be a startable guy here with Richardson. It hasn't been consistent, but he's definitely shown way more upside than Pittman has with Richardson out there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But you're not going to be able to field more than one pass option with Anthony Richardson.
Nope. He had a heck of a play to Adonai Mitchell, and Mitchell made a great sideline catch. And
yeah, Mitchell adjusted very well.
If Richardson could do that every week and consistently,
he cannot. There's no way.
He'd be a top 5 quarterback, but instead he's a roller coaster
5 fantasy
ride.
He will never be a top 5 NFL
fantasy
quarterback.
Well, if he was making throws like that every week, he could move that way. No. That's a huge maturity thing. The Jets and the Rams in a snoozer, 19-9. Rams improved to 9-6. Jets fall to 4-11. Aaron Rodgers threw the ball 42 times for just 256 yards and a touchdown. He fumbled. And Matt Stafford threw the ball 19 times for 110 yards and a touchdown. Also had an interception.
Bad game.
The two golden oldies, not great. Kyron Williams, 23 carries for 122 yards and a touchdown. Stud.
Great game.
Puka Nacua, 8 for 56. Solid game. Cooper Kupp now, 3 for 24. This is 2 weeks in a row.
Puka was only good in full PPR. If you're doing half-point PPR, he was under 10. That's a bad game for Puka.
Well, I was going by full PPR. I said okay. He was okay.
I know, but I'm just saying like the 13. No, that's still bad for Puka full PPR.
The work's there. 9 targets. He just didn't have any yards.
Yeah, you want more though for Puka. Like that was a letdown. If you have Puka more for sure.
Both the Rams receivers. Cooper Kupp was just 3 for 24.
Cooper Kupp's just been completely unstartable the last 2 weeks. The last three of the last 4, to be honest. Cooper Kupp's just been bad.
How do you feel about him going into next week? A championship
they
week.
The Cardinals, I believe, which
they do got the Cardinals.
We talked about them. They're not a great matchup, but they're not a bad one per se. But the Rams are capable of putting up so much points, but you got to look at Cooper Kupp through a different lens now, dude. Like it's about what you're doing right now, and the last 2 weeks have been 3 targets. So
and hey, shout out Tyler Higbee. He scored a touchdown. First game back
for sure. I'm hyped to see him back, and it was a cool touchdown too. He was carried the last like 3 or 4 yards through a dive.
Breece Hall, 14 for 52, 5 grabs for 38. Devontae Adams, 13 targets, 7 for 68 and a touchdown. Garrett Williams, 7 targets, 6 for 54. So Devontae Adams, fine. You'll take a touchdown. Garrett Wilson's a little touch and go here. He's not getting into the end zone for this team. It seems to be all going to Adams.
It is. Yeah, at this point, Rodgers is hyper targeting Devontae Adams just to boost stats. I would assume. I don't know really what they're playing for. Since week 9, Adams' targets are 11, 13, 7, 12, 11, 12, 13, all double digits except 1 week. So expect Adams to have an outrageous amount of targets the rest of the season.
Yeah. Washington, the Commanders beat the Eagles 36-33. Eagles fall to 12-3. Commanders improved at 10-5. Had Jalen Hurts not got hurt, I don't think this game was going to be close because the Eagles were on the verge of being up like 21-0. And then Jaden Daniels turned the ball over 5 times. Well, the team turned the ball over 5 times, not him.
Yeah.
He had 2.
Yeah, it wasn't him.
But 5 turnovers from the Commanders. Brian Robinson had 2 fumbles.
He fumbled twice super early, and then he got benched. They pulled him from the game for a long time.
And like they couldn't get anything going through the ground game anyways, unless it was Jaden Daniels, who had 258 yards, 5 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 81 yards on the ground. League-winning week for Jaden Daniels.
He's good.
Yeah. And speaking of the league-winning week, Terry McLaurin, 5 for 60 and a touchdown. How do you see Zacchaeus here? He's now the number 2. He had 2 touchdowns, 8 targets, 5 for 70 yards.
I'm not comfortable with starting him because Jamison Crowder also had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, okay.
Terry
McLaurin
is the only receiver I'm starting.
He was the only 2 for 15, though.
Oh, no, I get that. But, Terry McLaurin's the only option I'm comfortably starting here.
Yeah, they're also not going to be playing from behind like this all the time, and the run game's not going to be ineffective like it was for Brian Robinson and crew. Like, this was an outlier. And Jaden Daniels proved he pretty much locked in Rookie of the Year now for offense. Incredible game from him. Jalen Hurts, the other side, he did get hurt. He got pulled, concussion, did not come back. He was just 1 for 4 with 11 yards and 41 on the ground on his way to a big fantasy game. Kenny Pickett, he looked okay at times, and then other times it's like, it's fucking Kenny Pickett. Why is he on the field?
He looked exactly like Kenny Pickett did in Pittsburgh, where he had 3 or 4 moments throughout the whole game where you're like, okay, he's not bad. But then when you watch the whole performance, you're like, no, this guy is bad.
14 for 24, 143 yards, touchdown, interception. Saquon Barkley, 150 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2
tutties. Yeah.
The majority of that was in the first half.
Yeah, he had 100 yards in the first quarter. He is that guy.
Yeah. Kenny Pickett, hyper-targeted A.J. Brown, 15 targets, 8 for 97 and a touchdown. Devontae Smith had a huge drop that pretty much
would have
cost the Eagles this game.
If he would have caught it.
6 for 51 for him. If Kenny Pickett's out there next week for Philadelphia, you change your mindset on the weapons. Only Devontae Smith for me is the one taking the backseat. I would be putting him in my lineup.
Depends on what kind of leagues. If it's like a deep dynasty league, you can play him. It is what it is. But regular redraft leagues, there's probably another option on your bench. You could start over Smith. Yep. A.J. Brown, though, is a lock for sure. He gets hyper-targeted when Pickett's in. And you're not going to bench Barkley. He's getting the ball through handoffs. So Kenny Pickett can do that at least.
Did you see the Schefter thing about Barkley?
No.
He said that he thinks if the Eagles have the division locked up and the seedings locked, that for the last game of the year against you guys, they'll bench Barkley even if he's close to the record and make it so that you guys have to win the football game so you guys don't get the number 1 pick. That the Eagles will pull all their guys.
I'm telling you right now, the Eagles can play their 3rd string guys and they'd still blow the Giants out of the water.
Tanner McKee?
I'm confident Tanner McKee could 100% beat us. I don't think Philly would bench all of their starters, though.
No, me either. But that's just a theory that Schefter threw out, which would be let Barkley get the record. If he's close, you put him in.
But at that point, I don't know how far we would fall because that was with Vegas. Vegas already, they played themselves almost out of the first pick because they went out and beat Jacksonville.
Well, Tennessee, Jacksonville, they both have 3 wins.
Yeah.
And
so we would just be tied with them again. And
Saints haven't played yet. They have 5, so they're pretty much out of the running.
I think if we would win, we would fall to 2. So it wouldn't be that big of a fall.
New England also has 3 wins.
Yeah, and they wouldn't draft a quarterback.
And Cleveland has 3. So you could fall. But I think if you fell, as long as you're above Tennessee or Cleveland, you'll be fine.
Yeah, but when we were tied with all those teams had tiebreakers over us.
Yeah.
Like Vegas would be the only team that has a tiebreaker, like to get the first pick. So as far as we're falling, would be 2. So it wouldn't be that drastic of a fall.
Vegas still has the Saints. They might win another game. Vegas is going to play themselves out of the top 10.
That's what their fucking dumbass owner wants them to do. He was celebrating like they won the Super Bowl after this game, dude. You just played yourself out of the first pick, dumbass.
Yeah. Minnesota and Seattle. Vikings win 27-24. Vikings win 13-2. Seattle falls to 8-7. Sam Darnold.
He's legit,
that
dude.
final drive, that big touchdown pass to Jefferson to put the Vikings up. Incredible play. He had 3 touchdowns, 246 through the air. Man, it's going to be tough to let him go.
You guys have the best problem in the offseason.
They're franchising him. 100%.
You guys are going to franchise him. At this point, you guys are franchising him.
And then they're either signing him to the franchise tag or they're trading him and getting. There's no way that they let this guy walk because at this point, he's going to get so much trade value back.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, teams will be willing to pay him 3-4 year deals, so they'll be willing to give up a good amount. And like, to be honest, if JJ is not ready, just start Darnold all of next season. He's proven that he can win a ton of games. He's already 13-2. That's more wins than he's had in the last 3 seasons combined. So
it's as many wins as he had in his whole stint with the Jets in 38 games.
That's hilarious. So yeah, I'm just franchise Darnold, give him some type of deal because I'm not the biggest JJ McCarthy fan. So to have Darnold as some type of bridge to fall back on isn't the worst thing.
I'm a big Kevin O'Connell fan.
That's true.
Don't think this guy gets enough credit for how good of a coach he is. He's the only Vikings coach to have 2 13-win seasons, and he's only been the coach for 3 years.
He's a extremely good coach, but I don't think Darnold's this good only because of him.
No, me either. But I think Kevin O'Connell is a big part in the development of it. It makes me feel that any quarterback who's half decent can come in and perform in Minnesota with O'Connell and the offense around. Like, it helps that you got Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson, and Jordan Addison. 2 of those 3 had really good fantasy games, and the one who didn't was TJ Hawkinson, 2 for 27.
Yeah, Bob.
He's still banged up.
Oh yeah, he's not 100% healthy, and it's showing for sure.
Yeah, Jefferson 10 for 144, 2 touchdowns. Addison 5 for 35, but he did score. He got in the end zone again. Is that the best wide receiver duo in football, or is it still Chase and Higgins?
I would still take Chase and Higgins.
Me too. Addison's not as good as Higgins. That's my mindset. Jefferson's better than Chase, but that gap is smaller than the gap between Higgins and Addison.
Yeah, that gap's not that big at all. The Jefferson-Chase gap. They're 1 and 2 in the NFL. But yeah, I would rather Higgins over Addison.
Yeah. Aaron Jones was okay. 67 yards on the ground, 3 for 26 through the air. Seattle side, Geno Smith, nice game, 314, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Ken Walker, he was okay. 8 for 31. 8 grabs, though. That's what you love to see. Ken Walker involved in the passing game. Charbonnet, barely involved. He was banged up coming into the game. He had 1 carry, 2 for 14 through the air. Jackson Smith and Jigba, your start of the week. 8 for 95 and a touchdown. This dude did first 1,000 yard season for him.
Mike Evans was my start.
Oh, was it? Oh, it was the week was it the week before that Jen Jackson was with Chigma? Or maybe I'm just mixing up my weeks. Know. Okay, maybe we just talked about him. Okay. I thought he was your start of the week.
Big supporter, though, in JSN, for sure.
Yeah.
He's been so good.
He's now your start of the week because he did better than Mike Evans. Congratulations.
Yeah, sure.
I'm giving DK Metcalf got in the end zone, but otherwise 3 for 57 and a touchdown, 7 targets.
Yeah.
This is the DK Metcalf just looks unhappy. I don't know. Every time they show him, he just looks miserable. So I don't know what's going on with him. I know he's been banged up.
I think that's always DK Metcalf, though. His face always looks unenthused about what's going on.
Is he going to be there next year? Do they trade him?
No, I think he's going to be there. I don't think you can give up on him because Lockett's not useful at all at this point. And you want to keep both those guys in house, being DK and JSN. They both thrive off each other. They're going to go. They'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I know we're going to be high on JSN going into next year. I imagine we're going to both. We're going to have them both over DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf next year might be an insane value in redraft. We'll see.
I'll probably have DK towards the higher end of the wide receiver number 2s, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to have JSN as a wide receiver 1 next year.
Yeah,
a high end wide receiver 1.
Buffalo squeezed by against New England, 24-21. Bills improved to 12-3. Patriots fall to 3-12. Josh Allen, he hurt his hand, so he was looking off, and he might have that injury and just the performance might have played him out of the MVP favorite. It might now be Lamar Jackson again, who's got 11 more passing touchdowns than Josh Allen at this point. Allen was 16 for 29, 154, 1 touchdown, interception.
I still lean Allen, I think.
They have the same amount of total touchdowns.
Yeah, I would still lean Allen.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Still got 2 games left, though. Yeah.
Yeah, it's them 2, and then I don't know who would be third.
Barkley.
Nobody. Sam Darnold.
Barkley.
Yeah.
The disrespect.
Either way, it's a 2-race horse. A 2-horse race. A 2-race horse.
It's a 2-headed horse.
Yeah. It's a 2-horse.
Magic.
It's Lamar and Josh Allen. That's it. The running backs in New England or in Buffalo, James Cook, incredible. 100 yards,
crazy stat line.
Touchdown.
11 carries for 100 yards.
Yep. 3 grabs for 26 yards and another touchdown. He's got 16 touchdowns on the year. James Cook just winning games, and then the little Ray Davis and Ty Johnson played. They looked great as well, but fantasy-wise, it didn't produce anything. The Buffalo receivers, none of them hit. Amari Cooper, 1 for 10 on 2 targets. Keon Coleman, 1 for 17 on 2 targets. Khalil Shakir, 2 for 22. Matt Collins, 2 for 25. My start of the week, Dalton Kincaid, 4 for 15. The hand injury clearly was bothering Josh Allen, and thankfully for them, James Cook was able to lead this team to victory.
Yeah, Cook's had 3 of the last 4 games have been over 100 yards, and all of those games he's scored touchdowns, and he's averaging over 7 yards a carry in those games. So Cook's been absolutely cooking, but Buffalo was extremely lucky to have the run game here. Because like you said, Ray Davis, he was fine with the opportunities he was given. Same with Tyler Johnson. So
they had a
hopefully
defensive...
Josh Allen's elbow and arm, it's fine next week. But if not, it's going to be a little rough.
Defense had
a nice passing options.
A nice heads-up play. There was a lateral, was behind the line pass from Drake May to Ramondre, and Greg Russo absolutely lit up Ramondre Stevenson, and then had the wherewithal to be like, that might have been behind the line. He tried to jump on it, and another Bills player ended up jumping on it and got them a defensive touchdown. But Drake May, that fumble goes to him, I think. Yeah. He did fumble, but so did Ramondre.
So. It was
one of the
backwards pass. So yeah.
Drake May, though, 261, 2 touchdowns, interception. He's passing the eye test. We love Drake May through the scouting process. Me a little bit more so than you, but he's been good for fantasy too early. He's putting up decent fantasy numbers, and he's been the focal point of this New England offense that has zero help for him, and he's trucking along. He's been way better than I think a lot of people thought he was going to be, considering what he was put into.
Oh yeah, his offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL. one of the worst I've seen in the last 5 years, to be honest. He's running for his life out there. Him and Caleb just need a whole bunch of protection in the offseason. But the Patriots also need to get him weapons. Like, I don't know why they gave Ramondre that big old deal, like $40 million a year, or $40 million a year. 40 mil.
I think it's like 4 years.
I think it's 10 mil a year, which is an outrageous number. That's more than like good running backs are getting. That's towards almost what Barkley's getting in Philly. Like Ramondre is not worth that, to be honest. He has no wide receiver help. You need to get Jalen Polk involved, but he hasn't really picked up the system. So
Jared Mayo hates that guy.
Oh yeah, he does. And like Javon Baker's not being involved at all either. So like these two rookie receivers just not getting any type of opportunities. So, but Drake May's passing all of this test with no offensive line, a weaker run game, no wide receiver help. Hunter Henry's like the only fucking guys out there actually doing stuff.
Austin Hooper's also producing with Drake May.
That is true. Hooper's looked fine too the last 4 or 5 weeks. Not fantasy wise, but again, real life football. New England's a rough situation, but Drake May's definitely trying his best to keep him afloat.
Yeah, I don't think they have to worry about their future. Like, if they get Drake May,
Drake May's
good receiver. But New England should be throwing the bag at T. Higgins in the offseason.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Give that guy $30+ million, convince him to leave Cincinnati, and come to shitty-ass New England, where he can be that dude for Drake May.
You know who loves being a number one? Steph Diggs.
Steph Diggs, yeah.
Steph Diggs loves being the guy.
Off an ACL tear, though, I don't know. I think Diggs ends up in Dallas. I do. I think he wants to play with his brother.
I can see that.
But Keyshawn Boutte should not be the number one wide receiver, and so far he is. 5 for 95 and a touchdown. A great game for fantasy, but Keyshawn Boutte should be nothing better than a number 2.
In most places, he's not even a number 2, dude. Like he's a really good slot. He's a really good 3 option. He's New England's number 1. That's a problem.
Yep. San Francisco and Miami. Miami wins 29-17. Dolphins staying alive in the playoff hunt. They improved to 7-8. San Fran is eliminated. They're 6-9. Brock Purdy, 313, 2 touchdowns, interception. A good game for fantasy. He wasn't necessarily great in the game, but like no run game. Like Patrick Taylor, 8 carries, 24 yards. Kyle Juszczyk, 1 carry, 6 yards. Deebo Samuel, 5 carries for 25 yards. And Deebo, you should have played him in fantasy, and if you did, great job. He finally has a good game.
No
7 for
one's
96
playing
and a
Deebo
touchdown.
at this point, dude. No one's playing Deebo.
Hey, I did in Dynasty.
Dynasty Leaguer's one of the few exemptions on people playing Deebo, dude. Like, that's crazy. What a game to finally show up.
Yep. Who would have thought? And Juwan Jennings, my start of the week, 4 for 51. Ricky Pearsall, 4 for 37. That dude, there was like 3 straight plays where he got penalized because he wasn't lining up properly. I don't know what's going on there. George Kittle continues to be great, 8 for 106.
Where's your confidence in Jennings? 4 of the last 5 weeks have been under double digits in full PPR.
It's certainly not as high as I want it to be, but I like him this week against Detroit.
The matchup's there.
It's a great matchup.
It's just not going well right now.
Yeah, it's tough to play, but again, receivers hit those weird waves, and he's due. And a game against Detroit in prime time, that just feels like a big time performance.
You would hope so.
Yeah, well, we'll see. I would play
showed up.
If I had him, I'm playing him next week. I'm not buying into Deebo's performance, and
I'd play him over Deebo. That's not even a question.
I would love. Hopefully, Garendo's back for them because the offense is much better when they have a viable running game, and they didn't. Like they can't put. You don't want Brock Purdy throwing the ball 40 times.
I mean, there's a reason Patrick Taylor was like the fifth or sixth string running back here. He's just not good. Yeah. So like, hopefully Garendo's back. I don't know what the severity of the injury is, but they're missing a run game for sure.
Yeah,
they're missing everything, dude. Like this team is.
How do you feel Brock Purdy for fantasy? Like fantasy wise, he had a good game. 2 touchdowns, 313 yards. Great matchup against Detroit. Caleb Williams just put up 330 on them. I think Garendo's back. I think Purdy's a QB1.
I think he's like a lower end QB1. So
Yeah,
he's
I'm
streamable.
not saying he's top 5.
He's streamable. I
would
guess.
start him over Tua.
Yeah, probably at this point. Tua's had 2 rough outings, and they got Cleveland next week, who's not good, but they have a good secondary.
Yeah, they did win. Tua 215, 1 touchdown. Not great for fantasy. It was Devon Achane. He didn't go down at the one
an unnecessary rushing touchdown at the end of the game.
He knows. We just want it. We want those points, brother.
Doing this for the fantasy community.
Yeah, he is. First round pick next year. Top 5 pick next year, maybe. 120, touchdown, 6 grabs for 70 yards. This dude is the offense. He's so good.
Yeah.
He may be playing his way into a top 5 draft pick next year for fantasy.
Him or Jonathan Taylor next year?
I would take Achane because Anthony Richardson probably still the quarterback there next year. He's going to take consistent goal line work from Johnny Taylor. Achane's the dude. There's nobody taking time from him. Tyreek Hill is 3 for. I think I would go with Achane. Just upside. Like I think Kyron's great, but like I don't know if Kyron can put up a 50-point week. Devon Achane can.
I respect that. Fair enough.
And
good take.
And his passing work hasn't been as much as it was the year before for Kyron, whereas like Achane has been the focal point of the passing game in Miami. Now, that might not transition next year. They might utilize Tyreek Hill more. They might move on from Tyreek Hill. Who knows what's going on there? But like right now, Devon Achane is going to be ranked for me as a top 5 running back going into next season.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very close for sure.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good talent at the running back position, which is nice.
Tyreek was 3 for 29 and a touchdown. Malik Washington 3 for 28. Jonnu Smith 6 for 62.
Jonnu was what was it?
Dolphins yards for tight end in the season. He's got like 860.
That's interesting. 200-yard games gets him 1,000.
Yeah.
Get it, young buck.
Yeah. Vegas and Jacksonville. Vegas wins 19-14. Both teams now 3-12. Mac Jones 247 touchdown. He was okay. Tank Bigsby 50 yards touchdown, fumbled. ETN 9 for 22, 2 for 15. Stay away from the Jacksonville running backs because you never know which one's going to be the focal point. This week it was Tank Bigsby, and he wasn't great for fantasy. I would start both Raiders backs at this point.
That's not even a question. ETN has just been truly horrendous. And like Tank Bigsby's obviously not much better, but like Tank Bigsby wasn't drafted to be the guy.
Yeah.
But like they're almost back to back in like overall rankings.
Yeah. But Brian Thomas Jr., 13 targets, 9 for 132 and a touchdown.
Speaking of guys that are going to be ranked very high next year.
Hey, wide receiver 1, baby.
Probably not, but it'll be
a wide receiver 1.
On his team, yeah.
Maybe for fans. 73 for 1,088 yards and 9 touchdowns for Brian Thomas this year.
Great season.
What a
truly
great season.
Amazing.
Who would have seen it coming? Me. That's who.
I agree, but come on, dude. Like, not even you could see Brian Thomas actually being this good. Wide receiver 6 on the year? You didn't have him ranked wide receiver 6. No one's seen this coming. This is crazy.
None of it surprises me. This is my dude, and he will be my dude forever. I will be overranking him next year. I don't care. I will have him. I will tell you right now. I will probably have him ranked over Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison Jr., Roman Dunze, the guys that he came in the league with. He will probably be higher ranked on my board going into the fantasy season next year.
I'll have him ranked over all of those guys except Neighbors.
Yeah. Parker Washington.
Maybe Ladd.
Maybe
Ladd McConkey.
6 for 54. You buying into Parker Washington, or is this just an outlier game for him?
No, because he had that huge game with Mac versus Houston a couple weeks ago, and then just has done nothing since. So not even the 6 for 50s.
Yeah,
I'm good. It's Brian Thomas Jr. here.
Brenton Strange, 2 for 22 and a fumble.
Yeah, exactly. Huge outing 2 weeks ago with the targets, and then just didn't even show
up. Vegas pass game wasn't there unless your name's Brock Bowers. 13 targets, 11 grabs for 99 yards. That guy's really good at football. Jacoby Myers, 2 for 41, a rare dud game from him. And then the running backs. Amir Abdullah scores again. He was also involved in the pass game, 5 for 47. He's become good. I said I would have started him over Pacheco and a bunch of people last week. And if you went that route and went real dirty, it worked out. In Madison, he scored again. Also had 4 catches for 29 yards for him as well.
Yeah, both those guys are way more startable than the 2 running backs on the other side of the field. So
yeah, you worry
not
about
a lot
Jacoby
of people
Myers,
have seen that coming.
or do you just think this week was just kind of an off week?
Oh, man, he's been really consistent the last couple weeks. He's broken double digits every week since week 12 in full PPR. And they got New Orleans next week, so I'm cool letting them ride in the flex in championship week.
All right, Sunday Night Football, last game. Bucks lose to Dallas, 26-24. Bucks fall to 8-7. Dallas improves to 7-8. And I think Mike McCarthy's going to be back. I don't think
100%. They're not firing him.
Yeah, Cooper Rush. He was okay. 292 and a touchdown. Rico Dowdle. Hey, 13 for 23. 3 for 28. Zeke had 1 carry for 1 yard and a touchdown.
Why did they give him that carry?
I don't know, but you were most thankful for it because you were playing against Dowdle.
I am extremely grateful for that touchdown. But like Rico Dowdle's had 3 straight games 100 yards, and he's not rewarded with the goal line carry. We're just going to give it to Zeke.
Real strange move. Tampa's been better at stopping the run. Vita Vea is just a brick wall there.
Oh my God, Vita Vea is another planet, dude. Like he's fucking 2 dudes out there playing defensive tackle.
Yeah. CeeDee Lamb though, 7 for 105, just missed that touchdown that went to Zeke.
That's like missing half of the second half. Like he only played on like big plays. Oh yeah, he re-hurt his shoulder for sure, and he was really only out there on like big moments and third downs, on like passing downs for for Dallas here at the end of the game.
Yeah, it was nice to see
again,
Jake
I was very
Ferguson
grateful for.
too.
So, what's up?
Jake Ferguson, 9 targets, 6 for 40.
He was heavily involved towards the end.
Tampa side, their replacement, Kate Otten, didn't play. Durham, 7 targets. Why weren't they targeting Kate Otten like this? But they're going to target Dirty Mustache Payne Durham 7 times.
Yeah, it was insane.
Mike
every
Evans,
time that guy was getting targeted, I'm like, that could have just been Kate Otten the last 4 or 5 weeks, but you just gave up on him.
Yeah, Jalen McMillan scored 5 for 57 and a touchdown. Mike Evans fell short of what he needed to get. He was 5 for 69. So it'll be 2 weeks here to see if Mike Evans continues that streak.
I think he needs like 81 yards for the next 2 games. Jalen McMillan's playing himself into a nice role next season if Chris Godwin's not back.
Yeah, I was going to say, he might have played Chris Godwin out of Tampa.
He might. I think they'll bring Godwin back on like a cheaper deal, but it's really nice to have McMillan there because him and Mike Evans have been really good the last 3 weeks. I think McMillan scored a touchdown the last 3. I think he has 4 in the last 3.
Yes, he does. He's playing good football.
He's looked good. Another late rookie receiver that's just been helping teams get through playoffs here. So
speaking of great games by a rookie, Bucky Irving, 16 for 68 and a touchdown, 3 for 24. Going into next year, Bucky Irving's going to be an enigma. Like, how much of Rachaad White's going to be playing into that factor? If I'm Tampa, Bucky Irving should be the focal point of my run game.
Yeah, I think Rachaad White's going to be really phased out of the receiving game. He only had, or the rushing game, he only had 3 carries.
3 carries, yeah.
I expect it to be very similar to this kind of game where White's only getting like 5 to 6 carries and Bucky's getting the rest, dude. So I kind of think we should go on record being the official podcast of Bucky Irving. We've been hyping that guy all off season.
We'll get him.
And he came out and ran slow at the combine, and people freaked out. We never lost faith in Bucky, dude. Like, just watching him on tape in Oregon, Bucky passed every single eye test like he's doing now. He's bouncing off grown-ass men in the NFL, and they can just not bring this guy down.
Yeah.
I think he leads the NFL in broken tackles, so...
well, I think James Conner, actually. I think he's behind James Conner. James Conner had like...
I thought that was Bucky Irving.
James Conner had like 15 more than anybody else.
Whoa.
Yeah. But Rachaad White, 8 targets, 7 for 50. He had a crucial fumble at the end of the game. A hell of a strip by Deron Bland that sealed the deal for Dallas there. Tampa, they got to win. They got to win out here pretty much to make the playoffs. Schedule is in their favor against New Orleans and Carolina. So we'll see how that goes. All right. 3 games to preview for week 17. But before we do that, let's give a shout out to our friends over at W Energy. We've all had the days where we need a little pick me up, long day at work, picking up hours at work. You're up grinding tape like us psychos, or you're just chucking bombs in College Football 25 or Madden 25. You're just Marvel Rivals. I know that's what you guys are playing right now. You're just up all night, grinding the video games, grinding the tape, or, just streaming movies. Well, W Energy's for you. W prides itself on full transparency and ingredient disclosure. No sugars, no calories, no artificial dyes, no fillers. They got a mobile app. You can download that. Just search W Energy in your app store or the Google Play Store. You'll find it. Or you can go to their website, www.w.gg. That's WDUBBY. Be better and get that dub with W Energy. Use the code DRAFTEDUP at checkout for a nice 10% discount on your order. That's W Energy, DUBBY. Be better with W Energy.
Yeah, eat that dub. W Energy. They also have non-caffeine versions.
They do.
Oh, well, shout out to that. We have a buddy who ordered a big tub, wanted to do the non-caffeine version. He didn't realize they had non-caffeine stuff. So when he found out they had the non-caffeinated stuff, just for a nice pick-up drink, dude. It tastes great. They have really good flavors. Big supporter over here on the pod.
Get your H2O in and give it a little flavor boost there. And they got stuff too. They got shakers. I have a shaker here every week. Every time we every time we record.
Every time we episode. What a weird wording.
Oh, I'm tired, dude. Speaking of streaming movies, before we dive into week 17, I watched Challengers the other night. A little tennis movie with...
Great movie.
What's her name? Zendaya. It was incredible. I loved it.
And 2 guys I really don't know.
Yeah. But it was...
the guy that is directing that, to get off topic, is doing
Queer.
a new...
And that's why I watched it, because I saw Queer the other day, which
he
is a
did
solid
Queer?
movie. Yeah.
Okay. He's doing a new American Psycho, which is going to be amazing. Cool. And they casted Austin Butler, I believe, as the main lead.
Yes. Yeah.
So
we should do a drafted up movie podcast. I don't know what we would call it. Reel it up.
Yeah, I could talk about movies for hours. I think we did a little thing over the weekend. Tomorrow. Oh, Nosferatu, dude. I'm so excited. Robert Egger does so good.
Yeah, I'm jazzed.
He's my horror movie king right now, dude. So I'm excited.
That's why we're recording on Monday, because we're seeing Nosferatu. We might, you're doing the double feature. I might tag along and see Complete Unknown as well with our boy Timmy Chalamet.
Timmy.
All right, let's dive in. We got 2 Christmas games. Kansas City goes to Pittsburgh. The Chiefs are 3-point road favorites and over under a 43.5. Kansas City, it's Xavier Worthy. Patrick Mahomes is a stream option. Travis Kelce, you're putting him in because you're not moving away from Travis Kelce at this point.
If you got this far with Kelce, just ride it out.
And then I'm not messing around with any of the Chiefs backs. Pittsburgh is the real question.
I agree on the Chiefs backs. You're going Hunt over Pacheco though. I am.
Yeah, probably, but
he's just safer.
Yeah, I agree. Like I think Pacheco gives you a bigger ceiling, but
you should really only be starting these guys in like a worst case scenario, just because it's a Wednesday game.
Exactly.
Like, there are going to be better options on the market somewhere else later.
I'd rather pivot to Amir Abdullah in Vegas
100%.
Than either of those guys.
I would go both backs in Vegas over Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I agree. Pittsburgh, though, is the question mark. If George Pickens is out there, you're putting him in your lineup. You're not missing out on George Pickens.
For sure.
Tough to run on KC. I don't want to be playing Najee or Jalen Warren.
Yeah, look at Joe Mixon last week. Like, he just couldn't get it going on Kansas City. Warren's the better option in PPR leagues. Mm-hmm. He's going to be able to at least get around the line to get short dink and dunk passes, kind of like what he did last week. Najee expect very similar, though. Just nothing's going to be there in Kansas City.
Freiermuth?
If Pickens isn't out there, he's a good start, but
okay. Him or Okonkwo?
Chig.
Yeah. Regardless of the Pickens situation.
Regardless, Chig is my number one. If you need a tight end, go get Okonkwo.
Yeah, I agree. This week
he's had 2 really good games in a week. 2 really good starts in a row. 10 targets, 11 targets, and they got Jacksonville this week. So just ride Chig. It's dirty, but
speaking of ride and Russell Wilson.
Not on a Wednesday, dude. No. Not on a Wednesday in championship week. Can't do it.
No. Yep. Agree. Who wins this game? You think Pittsburgh you don't think Pittsburgh can pull off the upset?
I don't.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Chiefs win. Baltimore.
Now, if this game was 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would have taken Pittsburgh, 100%.
Baltimore, the Ravens, they travel to Houston to take on the Texans. The Ravens are 5.5-point road favorites over under 46.5. But these are easy again. Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, lock him in. Zay Flowers, I think at this point, is a lock as well, and Mark Andrews. It's really Rashad Bateman.
Yeah, Flowers, Andrews, Henry, Lamar, all locks. Bateman, dude, he was out there on almost a season high percent of snaps. He played in over 80%, but he only brought in 1 catch
during the week, so I was shocked to see him out there that much.
100%. I was blown away that he was out there. Pittsburgh's a rough matchup, though, like, regardless, and Zay Flowers was out there, too, so both guys, it's going to be hard for them to get to work. Houston's a great matchup, though. So I'm looking at Bateman as you could flex him if you need a big boom kind of guy.
And then Houston, Joe Mixon again, tough matchup. You're a Joe Mixon owner. How do you feel about you? I know it's tough
playing Joe Mixon.
It's tough to not play him. You have the luxury to not play him. You have a other position, but chances are Joe Mixon owners, they don't have that luxury.
No, yeah, it's going to be a better game than Kansas City. So full PPR, he had 8. No for Tank 12 Dell. To 14 for Joe Mixon.
Yeah, he might have more involvement in the passing game this week. Nico Collins, you're going to play him. Dalton Schultz, is he a stream option? He had a touchdown.
With no Tank Dell, the last 2 of the last 3 weeks, he's had decent weeks. But
he would be my second target on waivers if I had to go to another tight end behind Okonkwo.
Yeah, I see that. But I'm not nearly as high as, like, Dalton Schultz wouldn't even be in the same realm as Chig.
And what about CJ Stroud? Great matchup on paper. You can pass on Baltimore, but that dude's
not on the Wednesday. I don't think you can risk it on a Wednesday.
He doesn't have a ceiling. His ceiling is his floor. Like,
yeah,
there's not a ton of upside for CJ Stroud.
But then again, that's kind of what you want. If you have to play him on an early game, you want a guy that you know is going to go out there and get you just a good chunk amount of points. Nothing crazy, though.
Stroud or Richardson?
Stroud.
Okay, I would play Anthony Richardson over CJ Stroud.
Can't. I could not. But that's me. I have
it's you.
I could not fathom a world where I would start Anthony Richardson and he gets me 4 points because I would never in my life have another nice thing to say about that man. Like, so it doesn't matter what he would ever do.
He would be starting Russell Wilson
trash
over him.
No.
Okay.
No, I would definitely start. I would rather die on a bridge with Anthony Richardson than try to start Russell Wilson on a Wednesday.
Who wins this game, Baltimore or Houston?
Baltimore. Baltimore is playing so good the last couple weeks.
Yeah, they're going in the playoffs hot. I also think Baltimore wins this game. And Thursday night on Amazon, we got the Seahawks traveling to Chicago to take on the Bears. The Seahawks, 3.5-point road favorites. Road favorites across the board here. Over under a 43.5. Chicago's easy. DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, wide receivers, they're both wide receiver 2s in my eyes.
Yeah. And
Keenan Allen, yeah, and then Rome Odunze could fall into the flex, and then Caleb Williams is a stream option. Like, I think I would stream Caleb over CJ Stroud.
As would I. 100%.
And then I would also stream Geno Smith over CJ Stroud. I think Geno Smith's a good play this week as well against Chicago. And you're going to play your Seahawks. Ken Walker, DJ Moore, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and DK Metcalf.
Ken Walker got hurt, and he did not practice Monday.
My God, that guy's always hurt.
Charbonnet, you're made of wet paper, yeah, you're gonna be hurt.
Charbonnet also didn't practice.
Yeah, they both are hurt.
If one of them is out there, or if they're both out there, I'm gonna play Walker. If Walker's out there, regardless, he's gonna be in my lineup. I'm
way more confident in Walker in full PPR. Like, he had 8 catches last week in half-point PPR, and like, yeah, that's rough. Like, the leagues that do like points for first downs and no reception points. Yeah, it's a little harder for Ken Walker. So
the same game, would you start DeAndre Swift over either of those guys?
No.
Good okay.
God, no.
What about Ramondre?
Probably not. I'd probably lean
Walker.
Ken Walker, because Ramondre's got the Chargers, and the Chargers play hard.
And you're going to play the Seahawks guys over the Chiefs running backs and the Steelers running backs?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Who wins Thursday?
Well, I wouldn't play Charbonnet over Jalen Warren. But
if Charbonnet's the starter and Walker doesn't play?
Yeah. But I'm saying if both go, though, I wouldn't run Seattle's backup over I don't
consider,
if it's just Charbonnet for sure.
Yeah, I don't consider Charbonnet an option if Ken Walker's there. He's
100%. He wasn't even like the 3. It was they were using the other guy more than Charbonnet. Yeah.
And who wins Thursday? You think the Bears break the skid?
Seattle. No, Seattle's playing good ball.
I agree.
Like, even losing tough last week, they'll beat the Bears, I think.
Yeah, they're playing for that division still, and I do think they win, and they got to hope the Rams lose here at some point. All right, so we're chalk across the board.
Yeah, same picks, all 3.
All right, cool. That'll do it here for this episode. Thursday, we'll do the usual. We'll recap we'll preview the rest of Week 17, Championship Week.
Biggest week of them all.
Yeah, Championship Week. We got 3 Saturday games, and then the Sunday slate, and then we'll move the Prospect Spotlight Series to Thursday. We'll each bring a guy to the table. I'll do it here.
Yes,
Drafted
sir.
a podcast. Hopefully, at the time you listen to this, you know your results. You know if you're in the championship, or if you're playing for third place.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah. That guy's not. I will be sitting in the third place game bracket, just setting a lineup.
Possibly playing me.
Yeah. We did say we'd play each other, but it was not the game we expected. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we might end up
All right, guys,
playing for
you know where to find us on Twitter /X at @DraftedUp_pod, Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Search Drafted Up Podcast. We'll be there. I checked. I Googled us, and we show up first on the Google search.
Whoa.
Yeah. We're making rounds. That's Drafted Up Podcast. Like, rate, subscribe, review, tell a friend, share the podcast. We appreciate all that you guys do, listening, supporting the show. We love it. We love you guys. We love fantasy football. We'll see you on Thursday. Adios.
Thanks, y'all. Bye.